Yeah, well, g'day. Haven't made a rant in a little while, and a shitload of things have been occurring to me lately, so I thought maybe it's time to have a little. There are some things going on in this world. I don't know if you saw that, but I just said have a little chat. Second voice tried to come out. It's not very often you'll see the real me. Generally, I only start recording when I'm seriously drunk. And tonight is no different, actually. I'm quite drunk. I've had 3 of these long necks through the day and a couple of short necks, and that's how I know that this isn't the real me. You're just seeing the other me that comes out. And that's why I don't make very good videos, because how can a drunk ever make a decent video? That's why I haven't made any in a while, actually, to be honest. Okay, we'll try another approach. Rather than bite the dog shit. Oh crap, we sat it down in. Tasty dog crap. It is Cooper's day today. Quite possibly the finest beer in my hand. %. Fucking hell. It's a good beer because obviously it's made by Coopers. They didn't go all out in their graphic art, which is good, keeps the price down. Best after the 22 of the 4 alien. That lines up because holy, it says it's 6.3% alcohol / vol. Who's counting? Who is counting? That's enough of who. I would just like to state for the record that I'm under the influence. Unlike many of the people who you might I hesitate to use the word come across because you know what really sucks? Besides vacuums, it's knowing too much. You reach a point where you don't really want to share knowledge anymore because A, it's only feeding your ego, and I do my best to not have an ego, except the problem is when you come across people with egos, you have to use an ego to try and spread the truth. And B, I've got no urge to spread the truth. It's like, I worked bloody hard to understand what I know and to just give it away to people who only want to just spit in my face and call me all sorts of things, and who in their right mind just wants to go and give such golden pearls to such swine? You know, that's an old saying. You don't throw pearls to swine. So why, when I'm on these bloody stupid Facebook groups where these people with their freaking arrogant egos putting shit on me to answer their questions, to give them proofs for things that they are too lazy to look for and understand themselves. It's like, I've been a very, very generous man, and I've given away way too much. Way too much. Sometimes I just scroll through Facebook and look at all these things, and I look at all this ignorance, absolute ignorance, and I just want to like beam it straight into them, saving the time of having to fucking type it out every single fucking time for every single one of them. And there are so many things. It's like, okay, well, so I reach a point where I'm like, okay, well, this is not an ego saying it. I just happen to have a very good intuition and knowledge of stuff, and I understand shit, and I could answer any question you've got. And when I do, you should at least absorb it for a little while. Contemplate on it. Sit on it for a few weeks. Don't just come back with an instant response to say that I'm mad. I know, I know. Believe me, I've been there. I'm still there. I am as mad as can fucking be, okay? For me to even say that the earth is flat after my upbringing was the hardest thing to do. In a way, because when I was first told the earth was a globe, I didn't accept it. I didn't accept it at all. My cousins told me. And my cousins, they were like bullshit artists. I knew them pretty well. They knew how to bullshit pretty well. They might have told a lot of clever, smart stuff, but at the end of the day, they were very clever at bullshitting. Even if they didn't even know themselves. You know, my actual cousin, he was the master of bullshitting. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, you know, and he was the one that sort of set me straight one time. It was like, anyway. I was about 7 years old when I went to visit my cousins. And, you know, I still love and adore them. They're great people, don't get me wrong. And they've evolved as much as I have as well. So, it was actually my very first introduction to seeing a globe. The schools I went to, poor schools, we didn't have a globe. We didn't even discuss the globe. So my first introduction was about 7, maybe 8, when I was old enough to go and visit my cousins in Wollongong, coming from Bathurst. It was a fair hike, a couple of 100 kilometres. You know, took me actually, no, we drove. But they showed me a globe, and then they showed me a picture of Australia on the side of it. And they said, this is where you live. And, you know, you're a kid. I'm a kid. I was a kid back then, 7 or 8 years old. I'd never been introduced to this idea before. And I was completely, internally saying, he's a fucking full of shit. You're lying your fucking asses off to me. That is absolute fucking bullshit. Oh, I know what I see. Where I am, what I'm living on, is flat, stationary, level. They point me to this artificial globe. And I say, oh no, this is what we live on. So, this is what happens inside your head. It's like, reality into, I live on a globe. This is how they fuck with you. Like, not them, they in general. This is how they fuck with you, is they give you this most incredible, unbelievable fantasy and tell you that this is true, and then they show you a point on the map and they show this is Australia, and right about here, this is where you are. Right there. This tiny little spot. And, had I not been a little 7 or 8-year-old child, I would have just said to them, no, I live here. I live here. This is where I exist, inside me. And what is external for me is what I look around and see around me does not match with being on the side of a fucking ball, hanging upside down for 1 second. Not for a moment. No. Check yourself right here, right now. Look around yourself and look and see. Do you feel as though you are on any part of a spinning ball that obviously has curvature and movement? No. You look outside, the horizon is flat. You can stick your hand out the window if you like. You will feel there's not really 1,040 miles an hour of wind brushing past your hand. You can stick it out your side your car when you're travelling at 60 miles an hour and you'll feel this awesome sensation of movement. We're not inside a car. We're on the outside surface of a fucking planet and feeling nothing. Obviously, we're not on the outside surface of a fucking planet spinning at 1,040 miles an hour, going around a sun at 66,600 miles an hour, while that sun is hurtling through the galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour. That is something you were told, and you believe it, and you see no evidence for it. Why do you believe it? Because somebody in authority told you that? Look outside your window. Stick your hand out there. Tell me what you feel. Nothing but stationary, apart from local weather conditions. And they tell us that the whole atmosphere is moving with us as we're doing these phenomenal speeds. So that means the atmosphere is doing some crazy, absolutely crazy speeds in order to appear as though it's just going. Well, it's not going. In order to appear as though it's perfectly stationary. I like that word, stationary. Oh, hang on. I had an extra in it. Perfectly stationary. Think about that. Like, the atmosphere itself, depending on your location to the equator, if you're living near the equator or at the equator, it is said that the Earth is spinning 1,040 miles per hour. So you assume, oh well, I'm not near the equator. I'm X amount, hundreds of miles away from it. I live near the easternmost point of the Australian mainland. I've never actually measured the difference that it should be because obviously it doesn't even exist, but let's assume what? It doesn't really matter. Let's say we're going 800 miles per hour. Every time I look out at the sky, that means that the clouds I'm seeing are going 800 plus miles per hour just to appear as though they're staying perfectly still. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got a bullshit radar in my fucking head that says that sort of shit is absolute nonsense. That the whole atmosphere can be moving with us at such exceptional speeds continuously, and yet every globe believer will tell you that this is what aeroplanes are doing. If an aeroplane takes off, doesn't matter which direction, it will have its inertia with it, and the whole atmosphere is moving with it. Doesn't matter if it turns around and starts going back the other way. No, it'll still be going backwards with just the right amount of speed so that its forward motion will still bring it to its destination at the same speed as one that takes off in that direction in the first place. West just means basically all the aeroplanes, all the clouds, all the atmosphere, all of everything is travelling backwards the whole entire time just so that it reaches its I I'm at a loss for how anybody can still believe that. You take off towards the west, you should be there in a matter of less than half time, a quarter of the time, because you've taken off with speed, planet's spinning beneath you. It's not even a thing anymore. I mean, just the very fact that we can have runways running north-south and planes can still land on them is enough to put the entire idea to rest that the ball you say we're living on is not moving. It simply cannot be, because every single plane would crash and blow up in flames. And then to still think we're on a ball. This is the most simplest one I've ever had. Like, this is obviously not a cup of coffee. It is a bottle of beer. And I do love my bottles of beer. And I will have a coffee in the morning. So in the morning, as you might do as well, when you have your morning coffee, you might look at your coffee sitting on the table in a cup, and you'll say to yourself, if my cup is big enough, one edge of it can be below the level of the table it is sitting on, and it will still hold coffee, because the earth is a globe. And gravity. And if you still believe that, you are mentally insane. Logic tells us water finds its level. Coffee, beer, any sort of liquid will find its level and be contained because all the edges around it are higher than it. I don't care how many hundreds or thousands of miles you have to go out there to still believe that the edge is lower than it and it will stay level. That is mental insanity. To believe in the globe is mental insanity. Flat Earth is the truth. It's as simple as that. If you cannot wrap your mind around the fact that water proves flat and level, and that therefore all the land masses must be places above it. The most simple thing you can do, go and stand at the edge of the ocean. I did this just the other day. I'm going to do it hopefully tomorrow morning, sometime in the next week. I'm going to go down again to Byron Bay, where I can see Julian Rocks on the horizon, where you can all easily go up to the lighthouse and see there's miles and miles and miles of flat level water beyond it. Obviously boats aren't disappearing over that. But anyway, stand on the edge of the ocean, anywhere, on the beach, where you can see the ocean extending over there, and you can see the land extending over there. Now you have to think to yourself, you're on a ball. Are you on a ball? Yes, you're on a ball, because the earth, according to what you were told, what you indoctrinated with, what you believe, is a ball. So if you're standing on the edge of the ocean, and you can see the ocean rising to eye level there, and you can see the land rising to eye level there, you have to believe. There's no way around this. It's a sphere. It curves. You have to believe that the rest of the land over there, beyond where you're standing, on top of the world, on top of the sphere, where the water isn't washing all over you because you're on top of it, all that land is below sea level. How do they measure the height of mountains? The amount of height above sea level. Sea level is sea level. If sea level is curving away beyond over the curve, as far as you cannot see, then by default the other side must be below sea level. Obviously it's not, because we're not all drowning. Land is the place above sea level. Mountains are the height above sea level. And if you took curvature into account, it doesn't matter, like your mountains over here, it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of meters below the sea level you're standing on. Seriously. I think if you still believe that shit, that things below sea level are above sea level, and things beyond sea level are also below sea level, you have a mental fucking problem. You should see a psychiatrist. Earth is flat. It's as simple as that. See ya.